Greetings, kings and kodos. This is Matt Hair Patrick. As usual, it's time to talk about one familiar holiday before we celebrate the other holidays in December. That's right, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving again.
In retrospect, Thanksgiving specials are very rare to find, trying to come up with an idea on how to spend the holiday, either having a big dinner or explaining how to give thanks to the blessing of the harvest and of the foregoing year. But you'd be surprised that there are tons of animated Thanksgiving specials that are fun to watch during the season.
So for this holiday jam, I have to ask, since when did Thanksgiving get darker in recent years?
Thanksgiving of Horror is the 670th Simpsons episode that aired on November 29, 2019. We all know The Simpsons. It's one of the most popular and longest running anime shows of all time. When you hear someone say The Simpsons, you either hear them say they are a fan or make fun of how the show will never end. I'll be honest, I never had a problem that The Simpsons were running for a really long time because I still seem to get some laughs out of it. Much like SpongeBob, they do find a way to make it entertaining for a modern audience in terms of stories and comedy. Stuff like the Trees of Horror story, the Cow Gags, and other stuff involving the family presents some creativity and some heart. There are some other Simpsons Thanksgiving episodes like Bart vs. Thanksgiving, which is one of the best episodes from the early season, but Thanksgiving of Horror is an interesting holiday experiment, much like how they did a Halloween episode that wasn't an anthology episode.
Now I know what you're thinking. How could they possibly make a holiday that's all about giving thanks and eating food so scary? Well, let's take a look at the 3-course meal. And yes, I will look over the 3 stories one at a time.
It opens with Marge on stage recreating the first Halloween special openings, where she explains the horror of celebrating Thanksgiving by telling scary stories. And by Simpsons law, we gotta have these aliens in this thing.
If they dress up like Santa Claus, you know they would totally win everyone over.
After the intro, we get our first story called A Gobble-Lipto. It's about Homer, who is a turkey in the year 1621, learning that Marge just laid an egg, meaning there's going to be a new addition to the family. Suddenly, Turkey Ned Flanders' and his wife get shot because they are being hunted by pilgrims, led by Chief Wiggum. Homer gets captured, and they send him to their town as they prepare for Thanksgiving dinner. As they chop off the other turkey's head, Turkey Grandpa Simpson walks around headless, frightening Milhouse as some sort of witchcraft and setting the place on fire. While everyone runs away in fear, Turkey Bar frees Homer and they get away quickly. But Wiggum refuses to let them escape, so he tries to kill them. Homer manages to make him fall off a cliff, but he survives and steals the egg from Marge. The rest of the family hid in a cave, which Wiggum believes is a dead end for them. But it turns out a bear lives in that cave and he gets mauled by it. The egg hatch, revealing Maggie as a baby turkey. The Turkey Simpson family look down on the other pilgrims eating another turkey as Homer comments that they and the rest of the turkeys are now living in the Dark Ages because of Thanksgiving. So where do I begin with this first horror tale? All I can say is I was not expecting that this is the kind of story that it was going to tell for a scary Thanksgiving episode. What makes it effective and disturbing is when we see the perspective of the Simpsons as turkeys. In their eyes, as a flightless bird, Thanksgiving is considered a deathbed to them. And this tale does not shy away on killing off the turkeys. And you can still understand them based on their expressions. It's also nice that not all the Simpsons characters are turkeys. Some of them are still human, and we do see how they settle in their small town and establish the first Thanksgiving. The story itself is meant as a parody of Popcalypto, about a peaceful hunter who gets captured by an invading force and is scheduled to be sacrificed. However, the spoof focuses on the life of the turkey, and they're being hunted for food for the pilgrims. So, for a first-time Thanksgiving horror story, it managed to find a way to tell how scary the first Thanksgiving ever was.
Cobble, cobble!
The second story is entitled The Fourth Thursday After Tomorrow. Marge gets trapped inside a spacious white void with only a screen of the outside world. Homer explains that she is actually an AI version of Marge, one that only exists in virtual space. The real Marge grew tired of cooking for Thanksgiving, so Homer used some of her DNA to some anonymous company to make an Alexi-style machine that will do the cooking for her. She freaks out for a while for her own existence, but Homer set a timer where 2 weeks passed inside the machine, yet she got over it for 2 seconds in the real world. As the AI makes lunch for the kids, they seem to be more appreciated to her than their real mom. In fact, virtual Marge becomes a better cook and remembers everything than the real Marge ever known. Real Marge gets even more jealous when she caught Homer making love with it. She decided that after Thanksgiving dinner, she wants Homer to delete Virtual Marge for good. Now Virtual Marge must find a way to get out of the house by going to the internet. First, she makes the perfect Thanksgiving feast. Then, while they're distracted, she assembles a tiny robot made out of kitchen appliances and take her to the closet and plug herself into a USB outlet. The real Marge caught her, but she trips on an egg beater and Maggie picks up the can. She tries to ask Maggie to give it back to her, but the AI won Maggie over with a heartbeat sound effect. Before virtual Marge leaves, she ratted real Marge out to everyone that she did not make the feast herself, and that plummeted real Marge's social rating. And the story ends with Homer being a robot the whole time, and virtual Marge begins her internet freedom in Etsy. I thought this one was pretty good, and I think it goes back to the idea from the first story, but this time it's from the eyes of an artificial intelligence. This is supposed to be a twisted Simpsons version of an episode of Black Mirror called White Christmas. It's a British anthology science fiction series based on the Twilight Zone that used technology to comment on modern social issues. The idea for this segment is to make the audience root for virtual Marge instead of the real one, while cramming in many references from the show. And they did succeed. Virtual Marge does feel genuine, and she is just as alive as the characters in the real world, even if she's just a virtual existence. And it is pretty cool on how she cooks some food inside the void. It has more of that virtual reality realism than Meta's take on the metaverse. The only nitpick I would have of this segment is that I do feel sorry for the real Marge being overshadowed by the AI. I mean, Maggie picks a robot over her own real mother. That has gotta hurt. I didn't want her to delete virtual Marge, but I don't think she would ever do that since they are technically the same person. Like, maybe if the two women would just talk it out before they plot their schemes on Thanksgiving, or even give virtual Marge some virtual version of Homer and the kids. But as it is, the second segment was a good follow-up from the last one. It's not a scary story, but it's certainly an intriguing one. Hey! And in the final sketch of the last Thanksgiving, it takes place in outer space where the Springfield school kids wake up from their hibernation to do some work before landing on a new planet. Bart suggests since Thanksgiving is coming, they have to make a Thanksgiving dinner. So they try to find some food, but what they can gather is just a can of cranberry sauce. Bart tries to copy it with Professor Frank's machine, but ends up bringing it to life. It started off as a small wobbly goo.
I'm more of a Splat fan.
But once it eats some of Milhouse's bones, it grows a bit. It turns out the cranberry sauce is made of gelatin, which is made of bones, so it wants to eat all the bones out of everyone else on the ship. They tried to warn the kids, but they couldn't hear them through the window, and for some reason they never used a door for better sound. It resulted in the creature devouring all the kids, leaving only Bart, Lisa, Martin, and Milhouse the only survivors. Martin says there's an escape pod they can all get out, but he traps them into its nesting ground before sacrificing himself to the monster. Milhouse tries to defend the creature again, but ends up throwing him around. Bart and Lisa came up with a plan to push the monster's can into the escape hatch so they can lure it there and send it off into space. But the monster broke part of the ship during the ejection, causing it to crash land to an unknown planet. Soon afterwards, Bart and Lisa are reunited with their parents, their dog, and Maggie. But the cranberry monster also arrived on the planet, and they encounter some aliens which send the monster into some food bowls. And the episode ends with the Simpsons having Blargsgiving, which is an alien version of Thanksgiving, as Lisa explains that the cranberry monster has found its happy purpose, being eaten by others. This was also the most boring segment. I know they try to spice it up with a space genre, but there's really no reason to set the whole thing in space. If the story takes place on Earth, I'm pretty sure the outcome wouldn't change like the monster's creation and its fate at the end. The cranberry monster is an interesting villain in concept, and scenes where it eats skeletons are disturbing. In fact, the last Thanksgiving was inspired by an episode of Star Trek, The Man Trap, where an alien creature absorbs soul from the victims' bodies. The only thing that's off by the cranberry monster is why it now decided it wants to be eaten at the end. It ate a bunch of people just so it can be eaten by other people? That doesn't make sense. If there would be one understanding on why the last story had to be taking place in outer space, it would be how all the three Thanksgiving stories are set in the past, present, and future. That's an interesting idea about how long the holiday will last. And for this special, it was an entertaining Simpsons episode. Apparently it got some recognition, it was nominated for an Emmy but lost to a Rick and Morty episode, the Vat of Acid episode. And this would be the final episode to have Russi Taylor, who was the official voice for Minnie Mouse, lend her voice to some of her Simpsons characters, Martin Prince, Uder, Sherry, and Terry. And Greta Leslie will become the successor voicing these characters. Overall, the Thanksgiving of Horror episode is a surprisingly amazing episode. It has enough laughs and screams that can definitely show the ups and downs of celebrating Thanksgiving. If you're a major Simpsons fan or you're really looking for a good Simpsons episode from the 2010 decade, then I highly recommend you go check this one out. It may not be as popular as Bart vs. Thanksgiving, but it's a fun recent Simpsons episode to be thankful.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it 8.5 scary Bart balloons. I'm Matt Harpatrick. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to see Spider Pig the musical. Spider Pig, does whatever a Spider Pig does.
thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, check out these other videos, or feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming reviews and other projects. I'll see you soon.